Vähän tämmötä poseera.
Tää maskuliini. Fuck joo. Laki, miksi sä kävelet niin kuin olisit tullut Digipartista?
This nigga gay. Mä sanon sulle, this nigga gay.
Alright.
Don't put God into this. Don't put it.
Alright, so actually, Pyry, it's your turn.
Oh.
The free chance to tell us.
Yeah,
Open
welcome back to our last episode of season 3, OpinionOutlaws, where the only thing you cannot say is what blah blah blah. Oh, let me rephrase it. The only thing you cannot say is you can't say that exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah, and today, yeah, I couldn't say that. That's the irony. But anyway, so today it's gonna be our last episode of this season. Like I said at the beginning, and today we're just kind of talk about the things we have discussed this whole season. We have been talking about a lot, but mainly it has been around LGBTQ. A lot of like questions.
Is that a sandwich?
Do you want to comment on that? I didn't think so. But anyways, LGBTQ, a lot of equality questions, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, is there like, since this is more of a summary, I think this is more a freestyle kind of conversation we're gonna have today. There's nothing really like specific kind of foundational structure we have. It's just gonna throw some shit to the wall and hope it sticks. So I'm just gonna ask you guys to that was really great. That was great. But like, yeah, like to summarize, like we started from talking from the place of LGBTQ, defining what it is, and then from there we started talking about equality, like positivity, and all that kind of stuff. Ageism, and kind of like financial equality and that kind of stuff. So do you guys like, yeah, anything? I don't know where to take this. Any thoughts about anything?
Go ahead. You're doing great.
Don't throw me under the bus. Keep it up. Keep it up going. You're doing well. I can see already the last episode being you just burning my ass about it. You're doing well. Just carry on talking about whatever. And then please keep me informed about something.
Hey, keep going, man.
Fuck you.
You gotta go, yo, man.
Alright. Man, it's always happens. This is too heavy, bro.
Now I gotta do more.
Too much money there.
Now I gotta do more editing again.
Like, think about this. Like, no, think about it. Every time you know what? I have to change more cards.
Extra work and some bullshit.
Why extra work?
Gotta cut this out or some shit.
Why?
I guess.
Why?
Tell them that's a human nature. Yeah, but but yeah, it was a pretty, I would say, a roller coaster type of season. Interesting, and we had the interesting thoughts, interesting topics, and most of all, we had the same, I would say, consensus where we still made jokes, even though we were talking about very sensitive topics.
And if I may add, in my opinion, we were able to make it work, even though our setting has changed drastically from what it was our first 2 seasons. We had much better equipment for the first season, but still we managed to make it work. Like, even there was one episode where we were talking about, discussing a topic completely online, and still we managed to make it work, which is really great if you ask me.
That's true.
Yeah, let's not talk about a couple of episodes. We had technical issues, so the quality, I know already, I have to apologize for that, but the quality for unapologetic, but I understand, entertainment, so a couple of those episodes we had.
But if you look at that this way, we were kind of nostalgizing about it. We were just taking it to the beginnings of the 2000s, right? So maybe that was just kind of just unintentionally it was unintentionally well executed kind of trip to the past, Of course that was unintentional. Yeah. But still, even despite the technological issues, we still managed to make it work, more or less. So, but still, I think one thing where we very rarely, if at all, fail at was to keep the conversation flowing very well. I think that the only episode where I think, at least if you ask me, the only episode we were actually really struggling to kind of keep the conversation very natural as usual was the one we had completely online. At least that point, to me, it felt like I was kind of running out of things to say.
Yeah.
I was just kind of rolling like the broken record.
I had to carry that shit on my back.
Yeah, you pretty much carried the whole thing there. I was just yeah. I kind of agree with what he said, and kind of, yeah, it sounds good, really good. Good stuff.
Hey, but that just shows that certain topics are like more stronghold of somebody else, and we kind of like balance it out between each other. Like example, something that Ian knows more about, clearly he will be the one speaking more about it. So it's okay, and part of the thing, as long as you don't know, throw some of your own thoughts into the topic, then it's pretty much cool grounds.
Yeah, but it depends. If you're talking about like IT stuff where I'm very weak at, you want to be quite careful before you start running your map, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Actually, I think if we would think about it, if you start thinking about something from a very different place, we talk about IT stuff and I start approaching it from the place of, let's say, psychology. Maybe some principles can be applied, but sometimes it can turn into mush and it really doesn't make that much sense. How do you feel about, if this IT, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? So it might not be working, but surprisingly, I think I was able to kind of at least keep my dignity in a way without making fool out of myself.
No. Listen, like he said, some things I'm better, or I know better, or I know more.
Sure.
And some things you are better and you know more. And some things Bahid is know better and is better or knows more. So therefore, if I don't know, you know and he knows. Or if you don't know, he knows and I don't. And listen, this is, I would say, the basis or one of the most important parts of the leadership, where I'm not claiming that leadership is happening over here, but what I'm claiming is that in the teamwork that you're doing, the leader doesn't put you all in one place. You have your strengths and weaknesses, and you go by according to that. Simple as that. He knows more than us about IT, about technology. You know more about psychology and emotional part. I'm a virgin, so I don't know anything. But
About emotions.
abortions?
Emotions? Yeah, like we were talking about first saying that he has IT skills. I have emotional, whatever you said. Psychology stuff. And now you're saying all of a sudden you're virgin. What is that segue? What is that segue? Like, do you mean that you don't know anything about psychology or emotions? What?
All I'm trying to say is that
you're just kind of just pushing it there, like, yeah, I'm a virgin.
yeah, basically that's what.
You just wanted to have an opportunity to say that.
Yes,
Man, give me that shit.
basically.
Y'all be talking shit. But anyway, what he's trying to get at is pretty much that depending on the scenery, if you know more, just take the lead on it, and everybody will follow along.
Yeah.
And just what I mentioned earlier, that as long as you have thoughts in it, because that's pretty much the whole topic. You might not know every single word that I say or every single reference that I say, but as long as you have some type of experience or knowledge, or you have known somebody that has the similar type of experience, you can like put an input in it. Then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, true. I definitely agree with that, and it's a really great thing that we have this diverse amount of in knowledge and experience about different kind of things. Because what I don't know, I can ask from you or you, and vice versa. But what I'm getting at is like sometimes when you don't know literally about what you're talking about, sometimes it's better just to zip it and not really say anything. Because maybe you guys know. There's a phenomenon called Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah.
Basically, it's where because you have a confidence in one area, you assume that you can apply that same confidence to different kind of thing in which you have no experience or knowledge about. And then you start running your mouth and making complete fool out of yourself because you assume that just because you're good at investing, and then you're all of a sudden very good at, let's say, dating. So.
But that's the scenery where it comes along, as you mentioned earlier. But at the same time, there's no such thing as stupid questions. So if you clearly feel like the person knows more than you know, then take the opportunity to ask them questions. That's why, example, in certain scenario in our previous episodes, as you have noticed, when I was completely out of the bound, I pretty much was constantly asking random questions because it doesn't really force the spotlight at you, but it gives the chance for to the person who actually knows about the subject to like clear it out and make certain things clear, even to yourself as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that, but I think that's the thing where it comes to humility. I think when you're asking questions, you really cannot be that much arrogant, assuming that you're not asking those kind of questions that already assume. Or we're talking about questions that are really, really, really open-minded, and I think that's really great. But what I'm like, it's more what I mean more is like if you come to a conversation knowing nothing, but you still, I know I am the best at this subject I'm talking about. Then we would be, you would be screwed pretty much. Yeah, but I definitely agree with you. Asking questions, you really cannot go that much wrong with it.
Yeah, because to be honest, of course, there might be certain questions that might be, as the word the saying goes, there's no such a thing as stupid question, but with that concept, pretty much.
Yeah, some questions are like we already know, like the majority knows, but then some questions are like interesting, but. That's why, because it's always about the questions, not about the answer.
Finding better questions.
Like, it's interesting. There's a guy called Jason Silva. He is a PhD in philosophy, if I remember correctly, and he has his own YouTube as well. And he has one of the greatest vocabularies I have heard when he expresses the thoughts and these philosophical ideas. But he said this, no worries, and he said this, and I was perplexed because, in my opinion, that's actually the case. That if I answer to your question, you get the answer. But now, if you ask me a different type of question from the same topic, now we have a different point of view towards that topic. And then different solutions and a different prospects. And there's so much more that we can do when, for example, you have this problem and you want to find a solution, you start to ask different questions from every single place. And that's why, for example, when you ask a child something, they are very smart. They are very wise about those things. So when you ask them, what is happiness to you? Have you ever heard how a child responds to that? It's amazing. But I digress. You can ask yourself.
Your child about it.
Yeah, you can ask yourself when you have a child.
Or your child, if you have.
Try it. I challenge, actually. Ask them, what is happiness? Let's see what they respond to. For example...
If I remember correctly, usually kids tend to have very simplistic, to us, or person who has quote unquote matured and seen the world a little bit. Kids tend to have very simplistic idea of happiness, which is kind of beautiful that they can enjoy like the simplest thing, like happiness is when I get to hang out with my friend. Imagine grown up now, they say that simple thing like, oh, I would be happy if I just get to see my friend. We got a whole list of like things that we require in order for us to be happy, which is kind of sad, but that's the harsh reality of two different spectrum, pretty much.
Have you thought about that?
About
that thing? Because I believe that happiness, of course, is a subjective. Thank you. God damn it. It's a subjective thing. Now, for me, happiness may differ from you or from you. Yeah. And I see it as that when you get to do like this, it's more I'm more happy than I would get to drive a 300,000 car or go to expensive restaurant or something like that. I actually enjoy this more than those things. I'm not saying they are not.
I wouldn't enjoy that.
Like you say, but when it comes to actually what people enjoy, even when you ask the super wealthy people, they tend to be things that are pretty much free. You can ask even Dan Bilzerian. You guys know who he is, and I believe the beard guy with thousands and thousands and thousands of women, ex-women, with the cigars, and
We know.
You'll talk about it earlier.
Yeah, and he had a great quote because he has actually experienced all. I would say he has built his money, travel, fame, women. Like he has been with like the hottest women, like models and whatever. What kind of woman you think that are beautiful? That kind of woman. You only see it on TV. You know what I'm saying? And he has been with those kind of women. So those, and then he has money a lot. Like he has his own casino, if I remember correctly. His own brand, yeah.
Right.
So he's making money regardless where he is. And he told like one of the things that brings him joy the most is to hang out with his friends. It's just very simple. Like he said, like it's ironic that the things that would make you happy are actually not the things that would make you happy or enjoy.
Yeah, so
that proportion.
usually it's the things that actually create that kind of like more deeper, more wholesome kind of happiness. Those are usually the things we take for granted.
Yeah.
And I think that's why children are really able to kind of answer that question more easily, because they don't take that much things for granted. They have less experience in life, and they are, just experiencing everything as much more fresh and new kind of thing. So now we have us or our peers, let's say compared to 5 years old, now we take it 20 years later. Of course, you're going to have more experiences about different things, and you have your own troubles or your things kind of happening, stressing about work, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Of course, you don't have that much time to think about very simple things that actually bring you joy. Like playing guitar, or for me, example, playing guitar or hanging out with friends.
Playing guitar?
Playing guitar again.
Fuck boy.
This guy. Fuck. Bruh.
Hey, tell
Bruh,
me,
well,
how many ladies? Tell me. How many ladies?
I think enough about that. Where this conversation is going. I'm just talking about what makes me happy. Now women aren't making you happy. Partly.
Aren't you happy that?
Well, sure. If I have a woman that actually understands me and we share that kind of connection, of course.
He got caught lacking, man. He got caught lacking.
There you go.
Yeah, so of course, but it depends. Like if having woman itself, of course, for the sake of having woman, that's a bit different thing. If you just have woman for the sake of it, just having sex, physical stuff, sure. For some people, at first it feels good, but eventually, if you don't have that kind of something more to kind of take it further, you kind of are just spending time with the other person without it leading to anywhere. Maybe to some people it's okay, and to some people it is actually their happy place. There's nothing wrong with that. But with me personally, I wouldn't see myself as that kind of person who would, just have woman just for the sake of having woman.
Yes. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And the thing that I would actually a little bit add up to what Peter said previous about kids, I wouldn't necessarily say that kids are not taking things for granted. Of course, kids will, because they don't really consider. The thing that really changes the perspective of kid and adults, for example, is that kids are able to be present. Because they do not have the worldly stress of thinking. They do not have the worldly stress of thinking about paying bills, about their present or previous relationship or any other type of stress. So, because that's pretty much what when we grew up. Now we're like, shit, I wish I could be a kid again. Don't really have to think about anything. You could just enjoy life. And have y'all noticed I don't know if I've asked y'all in previous episode about. Have you noticed when you grow up how you view world, even the coloring, the filter, how you see world? Yeah. There was like this picture where it claimed like this is how you saw world and this is how you see it right now. It was the same world, but the coloring was totally different. When you were a kid, you could see the world in much more colorful contrast. It was saturated, way more saturated. But now when you grown up, have had all the stress, and also everything kind of like tones down. Like you lose a lot of colors. But that's kind of like a reference to you.
But the question now, is it more about the novelty factor? It's actually literally because you know it loses color, or is it more about because you experience colors as more fresh thing, and therefore it's more, to me, like if you ask me, to me it sounds more like an emotional thing, because that's more novel to you, and now because you have gone through this life, you kind of feel like, okay, you know, well, I have kind of experiences already for a really long time, so you don't see it as that much novelty, and therefore it feels as much less colorful. To me, it sounds like that.
But what about, because I kind of would say I'll partially disagree with that, because imagine the people who kind of grow up being stuck in like a kid state, that they kind of like be in the kid state. Will they lose that? Will they have that kind of novelty claim that you just mentioned, or?
I think it's more about like is it better about being child or not? I think it's more about having the life experience. To me, it sounds more like child. You can. To me, like to summarize it before I start rambling, I think it's more about like how much you go through in life, and therefore after that, life seems less colorful. Although the colors really don't change that much, if you ask me.
So basically, the previous that the world experience kind of drains you out into like state of.
Yeah, but I think like that what you said about earlier, like children being able to stay present, I think it has a lot to do with that. But since we are living in a very different world than we used to live back in the day, we live in like constant stimuli of smartphones. Smart TVs, all that kind of stuff. So I think that forcefully that will obviously take some of that colorfulness out of the life.
Preach, my brother.
Yeah.
Preach.
But,
so you got one, but quickly I want to mention to that, and also about the past thing, because like I mentioned, it's not like the kids are. Wait.
The kids are smarter, or
No, not about that, but like about being in the present. Because when we're in adults, basically, the reason why we are like thinking about past, for example, just past issues, trauma, etc., all the bunch. Because this is kind of comparable to a kid that has grown in traumatic household. You could like see that same imagery in adults, pretty much. But I kind of like forgot what I was about to say because I was thinking what you were about to say. So let's just hear you straight out.
I wasn't actually saying anything, but you said that the people who tend to be stuck in a kid's stage. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have that a little bit.
Actually, because this is one thing, to the ladies, if you're considering partnership, is that I kind of think that I've kind of told you all about previously about, when you're searching for a partner, look for somebody who kind of like can here and there like tickle your inner childness, because everybody pretty much have that inner childness. Some just have, bigger walls, and some might have smaller walls, but we still have it. And that's something that you got to tap into here and there, to keep yourself, sane and enjoying life and see life in much more colorful state. And pretty much to that.
Yeah, like because I have catched myself many times to have that, that curiosity that a child has. I've seen myself having that, like there's no limitations to what I can accomplish. You have hanged around with me, and you have hanged around with me. You know that I have that many times. I have that. Yeah, I can do that.
I can do that.
I can do that.
Have you climbed that high? No, I can still do it.
Yeah, but I can do it. Like I have that. And I believe that not because I haven't experienced stuff in life, but I believe it's more like because of the experiences that I have had, I gathered the wisdom. But that wisdom, I know for a fact that the wisdom comes from the fact that you are like a child. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have any limitations to your mind, you actually view the world like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. That's maybe a little bit hard, but yeah, I got this. Like it's and when you do it so much for a very long time, it actually starts to become the reality for you. But I also believe that God has touched me in that way. God bless.
God bless.
To everybody, not just me. But I believe we were talking about the last season, and now we are talking about a different topic. But it is
an interesting conversation.
it is interesting. But digression from this to the last season, I'm going to ask you guys this: from all the topics that we had, was there a topic that you wanted to talk about but we didn't get to talk about?
I gotta remember, like, because personally I don't remember all the episodes specifically what we spoke about, but there might have been like certain episode during that episode that I could have had like more topics to talk about, but you know, time limits, and then we had to move on to the next subject, you know. So personally right now, of course, I could say like from most of the episode, you know, I still, you know, could have some type of topic to speak about, but right now I don't have like on top of my head like, oh shit, you know, 10 episode back, you know, I wanted to speak about specifically this and so on. Like not that type of way. But what about Peter? Did you have anything specific in your mind?
Well, honestly, well, when we were planning this, actually with the idea of me, we were talking about at the start of the season what we were going to talk about, and I was like, you know what, actually we should talk about LGBTQ. We just figured we would just go from there, and I didn't really like think.
Is that a sandwich?
What?
You know,
need a backstory to that.
okay, I'm gonna give you a backstory. You know, if you go to America and there is the BLM sandwich, bacon, lettuce, and tomato, BLT, bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
Okay.
And when somebody says LGBTQ, but hey, all jokes, and this is not actually my joke, so don't worry.
Well, thank you for telling that. It was really great. Really
So,
great.
yeah,
It was really great.
It was really great talking about. Until you told that joke, it was really great.
the most Finnish answer you can possibly.
Se oli hyvä.
It was good.
Ajo asiansa. You know,
But yeah.
a little bit Finnish here and there.
But yeah.
Anyway, so we were talking about LGBTQ, and we figured, you know what, that would be actually something, because it's really hot topic in a way. It's usually something that really divides opinions. Some people are like very adamant about, you know, it's really great thing, and everyone who says against it is really bad guy, or, you know, transphobic, blah 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 blah, or turd, whatever is the term. And some people are, you know what, actually it's kind of ridiculous. So we kind of wanted to bring it into that, you know, just to think about it in a more centered way. Kind of just say, okay, what is it actually about, and what are some tonalities of it, and blah blah blah. And we kind of went from there. But to answer the question, my whole idea or decision was pretty much maybe to get to talk about it. I never had like any specific kind of like topic I would have wanted to talk about. Like, okay, you know, this is something I want to talk about. But if I would have to say the favorite episode, what we got to talk about, I think my favorite episode by far was the previous episode with Mark, when we were talking about why politics is so hard. Topic to talk about, because, you know, it divides opinions, it's so emotionally loaded, that kind of thing. So I think to me that was kind of like the highlight of the season, if you ask me.
Why?
I think because it was really there were really great questions, and because, you know, I was there actually kind of also searching for information. We actually got data from the, you know, it started from internet to kind of enriching the conversation as well. So I think that was really great. And yeah, like we had our guest had really great opinions. Everybody was really much growing really killer opinions, in my opinion. So the conversation was really tight, in my opinion. It didn't digress too much. So it was pretty centered, and everyone was able to kind of bring out their opinions in a way that it made sense for the conversation, not in a way sometimes we have a conversation and it kind of it goes a bit sideways, just like at the beginning of this kind of a few moments ago. But at that episode, I think we were, if you ask me, we were able to keep it quite tight.
Yeah.
So I think that therefore that was my favorite episode to talk about.
And Tight is good.
That is really good.
What about you, my guy?
It was great.
Do you
Hey,
have,
it came from me, but
do you have any favorite? Well, I was thinking that obviously the IT episode was.
well, I wouldn't say necessarily that was my favorite episode. It was, of course, I had stuff to say about it, but personally, it wasn't necessarily my favorite in a way. I kind of would say I enjoyed certain bits from each episode.
Alright.
Because certain episode I clearly felt, at least in my personal opinion, I felt kind of like drowsy in it, or not necessarily had enough knowledge on it, and it was more of me just listening pretty much. So that's in my opinion. I had like small bits, kind of like what Peter said when we stuck with the subject. It was okay, we move on. Then we digress to freaking. I'm not a virgin. Wait, I'm a virgin. Oh yeah, pretty much. So it kind of we trembled a little bit, and then for a moment we had to figure out how we gonna get back into the topic, and of course that's part of the job, and especially when because we have to give hand also to the previous episode, to our boy Mark, because he said come on, one of y'all could use the laptop and keep up the subject, progressing forward. So that was a good upgrade, and that's what we gotta keep in mind, that in previous episodes we didn't do that.
Yeah,
so
right next episode we can review it.
Well, fuck you. Fuck off. But yeah, pretty much. So in previous episodes we kind of had to go through the knowledge that we had already stored in our mind, or what we previously read during the early days. So in that sense, I can forgive the previous episode if they didn't go along the path of knowledge, couple of random jokes and knowledge. So it was much more natural the previous episode, that we gotta let off little jokes in here and there, but sometimes it just went overboard. So that's something I could say.
But I think, if I want to say, I think also is kind of the digression that is actually in a way kind of good thing at the same time, because it kind of keeps the conversation more dynamic. It's not always, as you said, knowledge, skills. Okay, here's the story. Okay, knowledge. I think it's also good that there are those moments of digression, which kind of bring that kind of fluctuation for the conversation, that it's more natural. Because we don't always, when me and you sometimes, for example, talk about something, it's not always that you have already this epic kind of conversation, and then you, here's what happened to me. I was with 10 women, and that kind of stuff. Here's the next
guitar fuckboy.
I said you were. No. Anyways,
Here's a demonstration again of the drum.
that was good. Anyway, so it doesn't go exactly like in the movies that you hear an amazing story and then there's some action scene or whatever, and then we have a second story by Ideal again, and then he says something very smart. Oh, that's really great. So I think it's more. It makes it more organic kind of conversation when we have those kind of digressions, if I could say, because it still kind of brings that kind of we're still three guys just talking about shit, even though we have some experience about an understanding about psychology and that kind of stuff. Still, we're three guys talking about that, what we find interesting and what we like to talk about. So maybe it's not really that bad thing, but yeah, I see what you mean at the same time. Sometimes it can just get what the fuck?
What y'all even speaking about it?
Sometimes the conversation about camels, whatever was that about?
That was fire.
That was
Hey,
or the Diddy party thing,
That was not fire.
that wasn't fun. That wasn't fire, and the only reason it happened around this season was because
it was a Diddy party.
because it was around the time when it started happening, when we started this season. I think that's the only reason why we start when we had that running gag. But next season, I don't think we're gonna have that. Hopefully.
Well, somebody else is now.
Hey yo, it's McMeal party now. But yeah, but as we say, even though there were jokes here and there and might be a little bit off the topic, it was entertainment on top of that as well. Especially when you didn't dwell on it too long. It was quick. Oh,
Did you hear? I heard that you did dwell on that.
you see, he already back on it. He already back on it. But we get.
We were do so crazy.
We get what you mean. And quickly before I want to actually ask another question on the same topic, I want us to find what about the host himself, you know. What
Yeah, damn. You put me on a tight spot.
What was your favorite episode, or what was something that stuck in your head? Like, oh, this is it.
Or if you have the question to answer to your own question, like if there was something you wanted to talk about. Either or.
Well, for me, the podcast in itself, the whole idea was that we can sit around, have interesting conversation with each other, but also have the jokes that we usually would have, even off the camera. Listen, how we talk right now is not that different from how we talk off the camera.
Maybe slightly, you know,
There-
slightly a bit. Because we are able to use other languages as well that, you know, not all of y'all might understand. So and also we speak Finnish on top of that. So we're just speaking English right now. So it's universal in a way, but you know, we got our own way of conversating. So that's that.
So basically what Pyry said, that it's not like this epic epic journey of a conversation where two minds battle each other to the death of the argument.
That mental chess as well, man.
And there is this kind of like background music of oh, 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 oh. It's not like that. This is basically what we do in the free time as well. However, for me, what stuck most with me was that in every episode there was a way to enhance or to proceed in that topic. Like even if we chose very difficult topic that is not that well known or is not that common, let's say the AI thing that we talked about, we still had someone who knew about AI a lot, and then we can interject the emotional or the social part of it. And that to me was maybe the best thing. Or the previous episode where we had Mark, shout out to you, my guy. We had that interjection where even when we have a guest, we can still add up the information or do the jokes. And all in all, this whole podcast, not just season, but the whole podcast has been enjoyable for me. The reason being is because it's that free-flowing thing. We can say what we want, we can say what we think, and there is not like somebody judging each other or looking at each other.
I don't know about that. There's always some running gag about, oh, wow, how can you say that? How dare you?
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
No disrespect, no disrespect.
And then there's like they're throwing that Diddy jokes and then what the fuck? What's happening? So I don't know about the non-judgmental side of it, but you know, okay.
Yeah, like it's not the judgmental, it's just busting your balls. No pun intended.
No disrespect.
I was about to say some shit on that, but you know, let it slide this time. But yeah, keep on.
And if you ask me what kind of topics would I want to talk about that we didn't, maybe one topic that comes to mind right now is sports, physical activity, but I believe that we maybe touched it a little bit when it came to body positivity thing.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting, for example, to see that how somebody who plays golf and somebody who plays ball, how they are treated differently. Golfer, they have money. Like regardless of who you think you are, you have money. But the guy in the street who plays ball, he may go home and he has nothing in the fridge. Like it's very he got street cred. That's true. That's true. Well, maybe that would be one good thing. But also, what I would like would have been if we would have one of the females come in our show and give her opinions, for example, in the gender equality stuff. That would be amazing, in my opinion.
Maybe next season.
We don't know. But of course, we will not bring females who, watch a soap opera and talks only about that.
We gotta do those too, because, you know, diverse opinions.
And you want us to become fresh and fit?
Yeah, we are not that kind of show.
Hiya!
Do you know who got demonetized again?
Hiya!
I could.
And-
they're like demonetized, and of course they always have sponsors, right? So yeah, record it.
And
The worst part of it was that the guys then start to like argue with each other, like bicker.
The brothers, like the
No, the
fish.
yeah.
actually, yeah, because funny thing now the Fresh is kind of like distancing himself from Fit because Fit is the one causing the.
Yeah, so basically,
Too bad.
well, it's not my stuff. It's not my things. They do what they do, but
God bless.
God,
I somehow always got an impression they were like brothers or something, but they're just good friends.
no, basically they met each other somewhere and they started to do the podcast, and then they got pretty big because of the coronavirus time. At that time, the podcasting thing like started to very
Oh yeah. That was around the time when podcasting got really big.
yeah, and then the red pill stuff started to come up, and then when they had this kind of platform and they brought this. First of all, if you bring a woman who has lived her entire life in Miami and she's beautiful, what do you expect from her?
Translation. He's trying to more say like bimbos, not the intelligent. Because there's of course the intelligent one. Because they kind of like never brought out like properly somebody who's like educated. Somebody who was
Very rarely.
like they didn't bring out, let's say, regular person
They didn't bring regular females,
Yeah.
regular women that have actually good opinions, and you can talk to them like a human beings. And even when they had those, like they have few episodes that they have those kind of women that are actually educated and are actually normal human beings. They are not clips that they show. It's not like they have blown up somewhere in Instagram, on YouTube.
People got kicked off the moments where female brings out their opinion and they get to bash her and so on. That was something that's because it was the red pill movement all the time. So, but anyway, I don't know what we talk about. Those guys, we got our own shit moving on, so we gotta keep it pushing.
No, you just mentioned that if we bring a female that is that.
Hey, that's our deal. That's our, we handle our business right. But actually, the question that I wanted to ask y'all both was, based on the previous seasons and this season, what, in your opinion, is something that we could progress on and improve on in order for our videos to be much more higher quality? Of course, we can speak about setup, but in our example, dynamic, or how we bring out our opinions, or how we build up the conversation. What is something that we should improve on, in your opinion? Because I bet each of us have some type of thing that you would like to. For it doesn't need to be necessary yourself. Example, hey yo, I think you should do this more, and I think you should do this more, or it could be purely on, hey, I should actually improve in this one. Simple as that.
I have something, but
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have actually thought about this, that because both of you know that my mind also works like that. That okay, what can we do now? What can we do now? And it's like, God damn it, you are my guy. You need chai.
Well, I could actually take some order.
Yeah, go ahead. Basically, what I thought about this actually, or we are waiting the man, right? Yeah. We are waiting the man. How you doing, man?
It's good.
I'm good. I'm living good. Yeah, what's up, man? Back to what we say. Yeah, I was thinking about this, and the thing, I do it sometimes, but I caught lacking myself in it. That when we have a topic, we would do a little bit of research about it. I would say that would be our weakness when it comes to when we do a content about a certain topic and we have opinions. Yeah, but then we should have those opinions in a way that it's also like we have researched that topic in some way. Like, yeah, for example, we can go and talk about things that are very personal to us, that we have experienced in our life, and we have knowledge from that. But let's say, for example, we talked about politics. Ain't no way we could have talked about it without looking some facts. Ain't no way. Or let's say, for example, we talked about immigration the last season.
Oh yeah, that was quite a difficult episode.
It was a very good episode, in my opinion. A difficult episode indeed. But the fact was that if I didn't do my research at that time, there would be no chance we would have done that episode. So basically what I'm trying to say is that if we have a certain topic that we will discuss, you don't need to do like a professor type thesis type of research, but basically just look a little bit into it. What is it and where does it come from and how did it create, or whatever the case may be, or what is the thing that you are interested in about that topic, and then bring that up in a podcast. I would say that is maybe our one thing out of all the other things, that because like you said, setup, this is what we got. Like it doesn't get, of course, maybe when summer starts to come, we can go outside somewhere, do this. But when it comes to
this was a great improvise, we gotta tap our shoulders and be like, we did a decent job because we did our best with the things we got going on. No excuses.
That's how it goes.
No excuses.
That's
But
how it goes. And that one, and of course, when we talk, I have also said this to you guys behind the cameras, but when we talk, the way that we talk, the stutterings and the and what like, and as minimal as possible, because of the fact that when you listen, because some people over there, I know personally, they just put this in the background and they listen to it. Well, when you just listen to it, it's a little bit different than when you look at it. And when you just listen to it, you don't want to have those kind of little slides that say, frictions and pauses and holes that irritates the ear. So basically those, I would say, are the main things that we can improve on as it comes to like content, if we do the content. When it comes to topics, I would say we have pretty spot on topics. We can do better. We can do better always, but I would say that when it comes to choosing the topic, it's pretty good. We can still work on that as well.
Yeah.
But I've said that we have done pretty decent job when it comes to choosing a topic.
I think like that's why, even though it was kind of like, it was either you or I think it was my idea to come up with the seasonal topics, right? Where we talk about kind of season is dedicated for a certain season. I think it makes it more simple and straightforward. We don't have to think like per episode, okay, what are we going to talk about today? Because we already have a theme for the whole season. Just like in a TV show, there's, actually, I don't know, like maybe majority of this, like shows don't really have like a certain theme, but that's how I like to think about it, because I think it makes it more simple. You don't need to really like overcomplicate it with, today, what we're going to talk about today. Because you already have that kind of like certain framework through which you can think about it.
Yeah, you don't go like, well, what do I feel like talking about today?
Yeah, yeah, because I think that's like, I'm not gonna call out any specific episode, but sometimes there are certain podcasts where you just see and they talk and what the fuck are you talking about? They just talk. They are entertaining. I will tell you that they are entertaining and they're fun to listen to. But when you really think about it, listen to what they're talking about, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? You're talking a lot without saying anything.
There's no substance in it.
Yeah, there's no substance. It's funny. It's entertaining, but it doesn't lead like it gives any value. I think to me, like like in my opinion, we do talk about things in an entertaining way, but still we bring it to some sort of substance. Yeah. It's always serving some sort of intention. We bring it to LGBTQ, inequality, equality, financial differences, that kind of stuff, like this season was about. Just like this season was. So we have that kind of contrast in a way. Yeah. We have this entertaining side of us, and then we have this knowledgeable side of us, which also we are able to kind of discuss in a funny way.
That's the art of it.
Yeah, the beauty.
What about
OpinionOutlaws?
What about you? The same question for you. What could we have done better? Or is there things that we should be continue doing? Previous episodes, previous seasons?
Like as a setup, I don't really have too much complaint on it, because of course there's always something to like improve on it and so on. But like how we have set up right now, each host is in the clear view, and everybody got, even though we have to like pass around a temporary microphone, because normally in setups you would have each own microphone, and that way it's easier to like get onto the topic. For example, if you have your own like thoughts about something, you could get on the topic without being like reach out. So that's only like minus right now that I would say, and also at least we have had our trusty handy camera that has done our deed, but that's on the side. I actually wanted to refer to what y'all both said, to example what Peter said. That would be actually pretty convenient, of having a theme, because it would like ease in our like episodes noticeably, that we don't have to like figure out constantly from like topic X and all of a sudden we jump into topic U, which don't really fully relate to each other, but they have small tendencies. Rather than going off like, okay, we talk about money, so let's talk about money the whole season.
But if I may add, I think that's already kind of what we were doing, but maybe putting more emphasis on clarifying the theme and actually limiting it. Okay, so this is exactly the niche we want to go to.
Yeah.
Maybe making it more specific, because we kind of had a theme, but LGBTQ, that kind of stuff, is a really broad thing to discuss. So having a bit more niche kind of aspect to it maybe could help. But I definitely agree. But if I may add to the question, because I actually didn't answer the question specifically, what would I want to make different? Like what could we improve upon? I think like maybe we already have gotten some sort of engagement from the viewers, but I think like we could always work on that, like finding ways how we could get viewers to find us and that kind of stuff. But I think that's a bit more behind the scenes kind of stuff. But
the behind the scenes we could do more. Yes, that's a thing, and to use a lot of TikTok and YouTube Reels. These are the things that I've seen when it comes to like results oriented point of view. TikTok has been number one for us, like 2,000 views, 1.5, 1.3k views in one single video, for example. And it's fun to see that from the starting that we started the podcast, and now the views have just gone a little bit up and up and up and up. So I would say that, but I think also we should do those back behind the camera things that would, I would say, make the viewers more engaged in this sort of thing. Because we would also have great if we would have those kind of episodes that actually the viewer wants the questions to be answered. That would be also great, and we had those, but also we want that there would be like this kind of organic way of doing it.
And maybe, I definitely agree with that. And having a kind of community which would kind of bounce back ideas. Commercial break.
How your day been?
Well, it's been great.
It's been good.
The water is really tasty.
I mean, you taste the iron a little bit, maybe a little bit of chlorine as well.
And
maybe slight of taste of rust.
Actually, it doesn't really taste as much from anything. It doesn't really. It's really tastes, but it's really good still.
Like it kicks off a little bit. You feel that little tingle in the back of your throat.
It's a bit cold, but still good.
I mean, you complain about cold now?
No, I'm not cold. That's my favorite kind of water.
But do you know it's actually bad for you?
Well, actually, it is good. That's true.
Or
it should actually be like warm off your hand, right?
Lukewarm, but that tastes like. Come on, let's be honest. It tastes like shit.
Well, in the summertime when you are, summertime when it's really hot and you drink like there's nothing
cold
like
water.
drinking cold water, right? Man, that's the best thing. So it really depends on where you are. If you're in the middle of like 30 degrees Celsius and it's windy, you don't want to drink cold water at all. But instead, in the summertime when you are like pretty much outside sauna, and then there's really you want water. Would you choose between warm or cold water?
Y'all don't know it. Hey, during army times, when it was cold outside, but you had warm juice. Funny thing, normally warm juice, I would like, man, you stupid, man. Who drinks juice warm or like heat it up? You wilding, or gluggy, when it was warmed up. And I had it on my bottle, bro. You were cold, but you just open up, warm your whole interior, and you're like, life ain't that bad after all, what I'm saying?
We're back from the commercial break. You're back. How do you feel?
I'm good.
Good, great.
I'm good.
So what we were talking about what we could improve in our, podcast, and we were talking about the importance of community, kind of like, because the community would bounce back some ideas, Because sometimes the truth is that we still sometimes have a bit limited amount of ideas sometimes from time to time.
What you talking
But
about?
I don't know. I just kind of this crazy idea bumped my head, and I was like, that's true. Like we're kind of humans, so we sometimes have this limited amount of resources.
A little bit.
A little bit sometimes. We had a few times when we were actually thinking, what the hell we're talking about. But we still managed to find some things to talk about. But having a community that would constantly bring us ideas and that kind of stuff, that would be really much appreciated because, yeah, it would really bring new, like, kind of tone to the whole show.
To understand this, we will still, like I have said this before, we will still talk here. But if you, for example, ask questions that you are interested in, then the interaction goes both ways because we can talk about it. It makes easier for us that we don't need to like pop up all these ideas. And also it's easier for you because you want to listen to it and we want to make content that you listen to it. Yeah. So it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah, of course, in the end, we are doing it for ourselves. But if we are able to make it so that we all are getting something that we are interested in, it's even better.
It's always better.
It's always better. The more, the better.
And once we know.
All right, so karaoke break.
Do you know what it means, karaoke? Empty orchestra. Actually, it means empty orchestra. You can look this up.
That's great.
These kind of information that you don't do anything about it, but you just have it. How you doing, my brother?
Just randomly, hey buddy, do you know sushi?
You know sushi?
This is like the definition of digression. Like all of a sudden we're singing and I'm just throwing off comment like, okay, karaoke. Do you actually know what it means to get karaoke? This is like at the closing episode of the season. This should be called digression. How to digress from the topic.
Of course.
Effectively.
King of segues.
And right now, next thing I will see that somebody writes down in the comments, yeah, this is why they need a permit to, podcast and all that shit.
Yeah, like that was really great because, so many times when you, like, of course, we don't have, this is our first season and I think this was one of our first, like, criticism that we got. Like, not the first, but one of the first kind of comments that was more critical. And you know, when you hear from like that kind of comment, critical comment, your first thought is like, it's going to be really mean-spirited, that kind of stuff, but that actually genuinely made me laugh because I gotta say, like, the context for that comment was that there was a TikTok short video, and I was asking a question like, how do you define LGBTQ? There was a break, and then I think it was Ideal who started singing all out of the blue. Like I was like, what are you doing?
The thing, this is how I thought about it. When you asked that Bahit, you actually asked Bahit.
Yeah.
And then Bahit like paused there for a moment. He was thinking about how he gonna say it. And I was like, well, it's sunny day. It's a great timing.
Still,
so
the start of the
but like there was that kind of tension that we're thinking about this, we're like really thinking about it, and then all of the blue come this very off like karaoke performance, like something like I cannot even blame the guy who gave that comment because that would be exactly my thought if I would be watching that kind of clip from live podcast. Our podcast is about, like, we talk about psychology and that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden we have this karaoke performance. Of course, it's going to be like, you know what, actually, this is the reason there should be permits for podcasts. Yes. So I gotta say, I kind of agree with him.
Yeah, but of course, that's how it goes. Some people will have those kind of opinions, and some people have different type of opinions. Yeah. So we have had all the criticism, the hate, and also the love. Like, there have been some fortunate ladies over there that have liked this. There have been some fortunate men who have liked this. Game is game. But basically, and of course, we know who they like.
The virgins.
They always like the chocolate.
Am I that into dating?
They always like the big black man.
Game is game.
Game is game.
Game is game.
Game is game.
Game is game. You gotta say it. Game is game.
Yeah, but it is like all jokes aside. That's why we do the things that we do. Of course, sometimes they are unhinged, but a bit. But the fact is that no matter how unhinged that we go from the topic, and no matter how much we go outside of the actual topic, we will still not start talking about your genes, and then all of a sudden we start talking about the fridge, and we end the conversation there.
Not
Like-
even a fridge. Microwave.
Microwave. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we go maybe to the fridge, but then we come little bit, like it gets a little bit off the rails, then we go back to the jeans.
Yeah, but I like to think about it in a way that you mentioned about the fridge. We're taking a break. We kind of go to the fridge. We talk about something else, and then we get back to the sofa, and then we get back to the whole topic. Because that's the way, like the original podcast when me, you, and the other guy who was in that earlier.
When is coming, by the way?
Actually, you were there, right? You were talking.
Oh, hey. It's a secret.
Well, yeah, okay.
It's a secret.
Anyways, so the guy, me and him, the guy, other guy, Johnny Sins, anyways, Johnny Rogan, original host was there, and we actually, the way we got the idea of the podcast was actually because we were running our mouth a lot when we were taking lunch breaks. We were talking about, a lot. We were just shit talking about a lot of stuff, but sometimes when we were shit talking, it actually escalated many times into something really interesting about psychology and ideal stories, pretty much that kind of stuff. And then
stories. We didn't need to hear the rest, pretty much.
ideal stories, ideal telling all those epic stories. And one day I went to this gym and there was this woman.
What was that? Actually, today it happened.
You see, like pretty was every other or every third time. You know what? There was a woman. I'm actually a virgin.
Here's a great demonstration about what we mentioned earlier about how we die. Freaking hell! Come on, y'all gotta help me as well.
Digress.
Pretty much from the subject to something else. Have y'all noticed right now? We've been speaking about something else fully from the earlier question.
But we are talking about digression itself, so it serves the episode. So the thing was that we were talking about something, we would digress into something really random or weird, but then we would got back into something that was actually, it really was like, damn, I haven't really actually thought about it. So I like to think like when we shit talk or digress, I like to think about it that we're kind of like, it's almost like at the gym. Yeah. You do a set and then you want to take a break. So the digression or taking a whatever shit talking is kind of more like you kind of rest for a while. You just run your mouth and then you're like, oh, that was interesting actually, and then you start a new set. So that's kind of like, I think that's where therefore sometimes digression isn't really that bad.
Did you see that performance? Sounds like shit along that line. Shit along that line.
But in this context, digression isn't really that bad because we're just explaining why it's sometimes really good that we digress.
Of course. Like, you have seen those debates and episodes and podcasts where they are so intensely just about the topic. Like, yeah, it is fun to, if you have like, I would much rather listen to an audiobook than that kind of debate where it's just business, because it actually feels like this is too real, and it starts to even become a place where it's like inhuman in itself, just business. Well, hold up a second, because there's a reason why we have all these emotions, all these things, all these things that I look you in the eyes and I look you in the eyes and I can see different human beings here. But I also understand that it depends also the viewers. Like, some viewers like more towards the serious, humoristic, and then some like it just humor, and some like it just seriousness. So it depends. It actually depends on a person who watches and listens to us. But to my question then is, what you guys think we should be talking about now, the next season? What would be the, I would say, good segue from the diversity. And now the next theme or niche.
You have already told me. So
I was like, it was just a brainstorm idea, but I want also to hear your opinions about this, your thoughts. What do you guys think about this?
you want to start?
Well, I kind of fell off a little bit on because I didn't answer the previous question even.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, because Pyry took the mic and then you started yapping about your bullshit. So pretty much, I kind of like skipped the whole part.
Oh, the improving.
Pretty much the improving, because I was saying actually something about what Pyry mentioned about the themes, and actually I wanted to say kind of like I get it in a positive way, which why we should go that route actually more, but at the same time it could, in a way, if we have 10 episodes, let's say for example, it could like shorten the episode by episode pretty much, because the topic kind of like we kind of like start running out of ideas in a way. Of course we can always research for more through internet, but you know there's that possibility.
Yeah.
So in a way,
TikTok is just money.
Yeah.
10 episodes of money. All of a sudden, the last episode is 30 minutes.
yeah, and you can imagine what we've done right now. All episodes are like what, at least hour and a half. So you can imagine trying to run that for like 10 episodes straight. It might be a little bit difficult. But the other thing would be, in person, at least personally, I would like want to improve on like articulating myself, because of course English is not my primary language, let's say like that, and also we know, motherfucker, if you didn't know, English is not our like primary language. We know way more languages.
We are not from English.
Yeah.
We are Finnish.
Yes, and also on top of that, we know, some of us at least know a lot of more languages, so maintaining just one language might be a little bit hard. So forgive, or at least try to be easy on that department. So, but yeah, the main point would be articulating the whole subject, because that's something, at least when I listen to podcasts, is the first thing that I listen to, how the person articulates themselves. That will like keep me interested in what they're saying. But if they're like what you said earlier about then you might be like, yeah, this nigga don't know shit.
Actually, they might.
Still, but
They might, but
it
because
it removes the credibility of the subject when somebody starts. Okay, my guy, you kind of broke a robot, I see. But yeah, but other than that, and also next thing is how we build up episode. That would be something that I would like. Because the thing that would ease up the episode is, like, example, have certain questions that need to be marked. I think I like mentioned this before, that, you know,
We had in previous.
like have certain questions that we must like answer out during that episode. That will keep the episode moving forward
it's
constantly.
like interrogation.
Yeah, motherfucker. Hey, we gotta be honest, because if we want,
Where is the money?
no, but it's not like pointed at certain person, or it's each other's responsibility to have, like, you know, we have to have certain mind map, because that will ease up how we move through the whole subject without being like, oh yeah, what we gonna plan for the next question, and all of a sudden we're just speaking about red color. Next thing we're speaking about plane, and then we're trying to speak about fucking tractors. It don't go well. So
Don't forget about the camels.
oh Jesus fucking Christ, yeah. But that's that. Your question, I'm gonna answer that quickly. What was it specifically? Can you rerun me?
So specifically for the future season, that I hope we will make it. What would be the theme or a niche for it? Have you thought about it? Or do you have anything in mind? Or is there topics that you like to talk about in the future? It doesn't need to be like specific niche or theme, but some topics that you want to talk about in the future.
I might start actually first, because I've been actually thinking about it, and if you have noticed in a few episodes, I've been always trying to kind of end the episode by asking questions. Okay, what can other people tell or do with this information? I think like this season was a bit more intellectual kind of thing. We're talking about more intellectual stuff, or more in a way like we were just talking about ideas, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, last seasons were more about emotional, I would say.
And I think I would say more practical kind of things, because many times, if you remember, in the first 2 seasons, I, as often as possible, I always ask from the audience and you guys, what could other people do with this information. So I would like to take the fourth season to more practical kind of dimension where we're actually talking about more like things that people can do with this information. Because I want to also have that kind of aspect where, because this is for like young adult male, right, who are struggling in life, and they want information that actually helps them. Well, implementation is inevitably one part they need to have. They need to be able to take out of this. What can they implement? So I would like to have that kind of section in next season, but as much as possible at the end of the episode, like where we ask, okay, so what can other people do with this information? That's one thing I think we have kind of strayed away from in a way. So I would like to bring it back to that kind of more like practical kind of aspect.
Yeah, like you didn't mention any topic or niche, but you want to have that part of the podcast where we can say or do stuff that are very practical.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, and you can actually implement not just us, but also the viewers.
Yeah, because I think there should be that value aspect where other people also, okay, you know what, actually they're funny, but they're also able to give us something that we can actually use of and try. And if it works for them, great. If it doesn't work for them, at least they have given it a try. Yeah. But like that's the main thing. I think I don't have really like any specific like theme right now, but the one you mentioned about like, if you don't mind me sharing it, it was more about like finding commonalities between people, right? What unites people, right? So that would be the thing. I think there would be really a lot of things that we could make it, how to make it practical. So that's a really great example of theme that would really make it more practical.
What about you, my African brother?
No, Peter got me. Think about. Could you answer it first? Would you have something in your mind?
I basically Peter told what I was thinking because I was brainstorming ideas, and then in that brainstorm I had a thought that okay, we have talked about diversity, now we balance it out with the commonalities. So that was my thought process when I started to reconsider. Okay, the next season we will start doing what would be the themes, what would be the niche, what would be the topics. And that was the first thing that came to mind. And then from there, I was like, okay, that actually can work.
Yeah.
But of course, I ask also you guys.
Yeah, but I think that would be really great because I think a lot of like people of our age are struggling with loneliness. So we could actually really expand it from like commonalities. We could really expand it to loneliness, all those kind of mental health issues. So I think that would be a really great, really rich source of content for us. So therefore, I'm voting for your idea. But like, if I come up with some,
I got a vote, my brother.
Yeah, but like that's one thing. But definitely, if there's some.
You said it. You said it.
Anyways, so like if there's any other topics, I'm definitely open for them. But I think like that's a really, really kind of like very rich kind of source for us to kind of expand. But yeah, definitely, I'm still open for other ideas.
Well, personally, I don't have any like specific niche or topic that, because of course we can come up with anything. I would more just say that we should, in a degree, focus on like the major things right now, because of course that's something that we will most definitely have something to speak about. But we can also, to a degree, like reach out to certain things that are not that visible in a way. Like somebody might say it's not that important, but you bring it out and it might turn out to be much more important than we expected. So in a way, I don't have specifics. I don't. Oh, what? So you said true or?
I was just about to actually ask. Do you mean like we should be a bit more topical, more like discuss things that are happening currently, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. Because like a possibility example for war is something that we could easily come up with, because it touches the politic aspect a lot and national aspect and all that other good stuff that is actually going on right now. That's something that we would have like concrete stories to tell about. And
war is not a good thing.
Peace, brother.
My bad.
Peace.
But it's a good stuff as in topic.
Yeah, in a topic.
We don't.
But
we don't encourage anymore. So if you're the more, stop it.
Yeah, but in a way,
Don't do more.
I'm speaking it in a way of like current events. In a way, current events like it's something, and also in a way we can also start speaking kind of like in the AI episode or the IT type of episode. We could also try to speak about future a lot in a way as well of like possibilities. Well, of course that's a hypothetical scenery, but in a way of like what we've tried in certain episode, like when you ask question, how do you see this going on in future? We could try to answer that in our own opinion. Like
Actually, I saw the gameplay in Cyberpunk.
You saw it,
Yes.
and you saw how the world was evolving, and especially when you play the first 6 hours of the episode, it kind of like brings you out the thing that I was speaking in that certain episode. Yeah. Like the certain topics of how we will lose the organic stuff, which will become actually very valuable, which you said taking for granted. But yeah, that's a whole different topic of its own. But yeah, what I'm reaching at, there's no specific topic. Just catch on the latest trend in a way. It is trend because you don't want to actually play against the wave. You want to ride that wave in correct time.
Yeah. But it will be funny that out of all the things we forced it to be turned into a daily podcast, all of a sudden, that would be at least interesting.
Yeah.
I would see that coming.
Wait. What? I kind of dropped.
You were talking about women, so I was kind of like, oh, we'll then turn in dating podcast or what?
Hey, we gotta be diverse. And also, actually, on the topic of, you said we're aiming at like young guys, which is true. Majority of people will most likely be guys, but this is not excluded on females as well. Yeah. And the ones who want to be the third dimension as well. You get what I'm saying? But this is for everybody.
Is this some diversity talk or what? Like we don't want to exclude anybody.
We're not. Anybody who wants knowledge and entertainment is free up to take whatever they get out of this. So this is not.
Nobody can say that. No, you're not a young man. Don't watch it.
Exactly. This is not like that type of like if.
Sure. But there's a difference between like diversity and difference between directed marketing.
Yeah.
Because we have this kind of certain profile in our mind of the people this is directed towards. So it's different from what you mean. Like we of course we had like a main profile. We are directing all the content too. But of course, if you enjoy our content, watch our videos and like do whatever you want with it. But like the point.
Oh fuckers, give me that shit, man. Y'all be chapping both of you. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So basically, this is not excluded. Of course, we know our main group will be guys. That's it. That's what he pretty much mean. Yeah. But if females are interested, that's as well. And what you said earlier that we could bring a female guest, that's brings up on new perspective. Because right now we're pushing like perspective of 3 guys. Let's be honest, we are pushing right now the perspective of 3 guys, which is not a bad thing, but it's fully on certain type of gender, pretty much. So, hey, come on, now we three-dimensional. Exactly.
Sure. But yeah, basically, that's why I said, because there is no way I cannot ever say that I can see things how women sees things. Or I won't believe that you two as well can do that. But, and that would be the reason Black Lives Matter, right?
No, but the interesting thing is coming from a. This what you're talking about. Like you don't understand women, and the same guy who told me that you understand women's psychology. So that's a bit contradicting. So I literally remember like 3 years ago, there was a girl we were talking with, like 3 of us, and you were talking about somebody. Yeah, I have an understanding of women's psychology. So. That's a bit.
You just go throw a brother under the bus like that. In front of fucking.
Look how I got this. Give me that mic.
You just go. You remember what you said last time? Survive.
Watch, because this is not the first time.
Let's listen.
You have read the books well.
To understand and to live it are 2 different things.
But you have experience also, so.
No, I don't have
No,
experience.
of course
I
not.
said I just know the psyche and psychology.
You have read a lot of books.
Yes, I have read
You
a
have
lot
read
of
a
books.
lot of
This is not this. I have read a lot of books. Look over there. Look over there.
And you're pointing all the direction over there.
There are books over there. There are books over there, and almost all of them are read to the T. Every single comma and point.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge
Well,
is
that's really great.
power.
That is really great for you, and I also congratulate on your experience about it.
Thank you. And that's why that's why I said
What y'all even talking about? Yeah, I'm proud of you, my son. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, good.
well, basically he threw me under the bus, and then I tried to crawl out of it,
And he said,
but he's trying to still keep
he's
it.
the one holding you down. Yeah, stay there, stay there. What you mean you know about females' experience? Stay there, man.
Oh man.
He said 3 years ago, bro. He pulled out the
Yeah.
You remember the receipt?
And do you know what's the craziest thing? Even she remembers that. But because it was interesting that when we sat in that table and we started to discuss these kind of topics, he remembers. She said that she will get more out of this conversation than the therapy that she has.
Well, that's not the conversation I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Now that you mention.
The year before that, you remember the Spanish class?
Get the mic. Get the mic. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Hey.
Don't just say that one woman.
But actually,
They're right here.
you just said one topic that I actually want to talk about,
Oh.
and that's the therapy one. Because
Child raping? What
The hell? What the hell?
What?
What?
how did you get therapy
Therapy, thank you.
out of child rapists?
Yeah, damn. Well, you said it in a way, I was like, there's no way he said
Yo, I want to see this clip later on. Like, what the hell? How did he get the word out of,
cancel.
bro?
Something I would really feel.
Jesus. Jesus Christ! Well, how did he get that out of?
Like, can you imagine? We talk about like diversity next season. Child rape.
That would be
Yeah, it got me out of guard. But back to what I actually said was actually the therapy. Therapy. I want to go through that subject because I've noticed, no disrespect to some of y'all on that side.
No disrespect, alright? Carry on with your disrespect.
But personally, what I've noticed, like, a lot of people be swinging word therapy around like it's a day-to-day pill, pretty much. Like, it's just, oh, I'm going to therapy, oh, I'm doing this, Don't get me wrong, therapy is a nice thing. Therapy comes in a lot of forms.
Yeah,
But but I actually have certain topic that I want to speak about it because it has been something that, let's say, has been annoying. What I've conversated with people, it's very, very annoying, and especially when you tell that, oh yeah, I had example tough young childhood and so on. Have you gone to therapy? Huh? Huh? Like,
oh, you need to.
no, my God.
You don't know what you're missing out.
Exactly. And I'm like, but your life is as wrecked even though you've been going to therapy. Therapy is not like a magical pill that, fixes you. But I get the point of therapy, and that's why I say therapy has many forms. And as a guy, at least personally, I ain't going to leak out the whole knowledge right now, Gotta keep it wisdom, later on, but, that's that. But yeah, I do have certain topics, just as long as, if we conversate about it later on specific, then it might pop up. But right now I don't have whoa. Shit, let's talk about how universe was created. What the hell?
I want to make one thing clear. Like, if there's any topic I never want to talk about, it's either physics or math.
Physics or math.
Come on now, Pythagoras.
Yeah.
You gotta know.
Hey, you got to know your Pythagoras.
You gotta know
You gotta know your Einstein. I don't even know.
A potens 2 plus
Fuck off. Fuck off. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. No, I don't want to.
I have them all if you want.
You want to know about the linear?
No,
integral.
Okay, I'm out.
But you were asking.
So I just wanted to make one thing clear. That's
Math and physics.
the math or physics is definitely out of question because I have zero knowledge, understanding, or interest, talk about them.
What about metaphysics?
Metaphysics is different because it's not really about physics. It's about being. It's philosophy.
Yeah, but would you be interested?
Sure. But I think like
you see, like we start to brainstorm this, and all of a sudden the topics start to line up.
But I still metaphysics. It's still very intellectual kind of thing. I don't have anything against intellectual things because a majority of our conversation is about intellections as well. But I want to have it also that kind of place where it doesn't turn into just mental masturbation where that's a really interesting idea. I also agree with that, and I think my ideas were really great. That kind of like. Yeah, literally mental masturbation. So I also want.
What have you watched?
So I think to me like
maybe some guys, when I'm sorry to interrupt, but maybe the Twitter chamber halls that they say, "Hey, this is wrong. Yeah, I agree," and all of a sudden they're jerking each other off, and you'll be like.
Well, what I mean by mental masturbation is I mean that like there's that lot of like intellectualism without really any initiative to improve yourself. That's what I mean because there are people who just get information and they're like, oh, that's a really interesting thing, that's a really interesting idea, and then they do nothing with it. So that's kind of like that's a waste of time. Like it's kind of that's the kind of placebo effect. Because you learn something, you just think that you will improve, even though you really don't.
I watched their episode for now. Now I'm a better person. Now I'm grown.
Yeah. You better listen to until the end. After this episode, you will be much wiser.
I heard a saying that goes that soul work is slow work. If you watch one episode of our podcast, I can promise you're not a better person after it.
Damn, bro.
Not worse either.
But the fact is that if you start to implement the things that we have discussed, then you start to become a better person. But if you just watch it, I promise you will not become a better person. A promise. I have never broken a promise.
Hey, that's true. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I've been victim of that as well. Of just watching knowledgeable thing or great debate and so on. And I'm after finishing, I'm like, oh yeah, you get that small doses of dopamine, and then afterward, day later, you're like, so what was it again? Like I feel shit again. But that's understandable. That's understandable.
Yeah, but just to make clear, we're not condemning anybody. If you want to listen to that kind of content, sure, do each of their own right. But if you ask personally about this podcast, where I want to take this podcast, I want it to be more. Sure, there is that intellectual place, but also there is that kind of practical place where we kind of take it into action, also, and urge other people also to kind of be more initiative about whatever they are struggling in their lives.
Yes, sir. I think. Do I have more questions? 1 hour and a half.
What I told you earlier about so imagine talking one and a half hour about one niche.
But I want to comment on it. Like you said something about that we would do research on money, and by each like there was an example we were talking about. For let's say there was a season for money.
I said it that if there was a season
and by the end of it, the episode would be shorter because we would run out of ideas.
And he said
that. But literally, like we have been running this whole podcast like 1.5 hours episodes without any research. So how do you think we're gonna run out of things to say with research?
But then I would imagine, because let's say like this, the first, let's say 5 episodes could be very like full of that, concrete knowledge. But then let's be honest, after like let's say 5 hours of non-stop pushing of knowledge, what would you come up with? Because there's certain degree of giving off proper data before it runs out into us just blabbing something. Of course, unless we're gonna do it in a way like the first of few episodes is fully of telling about money's background, etc., so on, how to use money, what is money, so on, and then the next half of the season is pretty much us just blabbing. Hey, yo, bro, do you remember back in days when we had money? The story time, pretty much. Then I would like get it in a way, but other than that, I would view it in a way that it would kind of like go up high, very high, and then decelerate steadily downward, because we will most likely run out of, unless we are gonna do what I'm expecting us most likely to do, Story time. Story time.
Let's go. I have one, but it's for the end of this episode.
Alright.
Okay. Okay.
I also have a story if you don't mind me telling. All right.
Okay. Tell the story. I was thinking something else, but tell us.
This is actually a story told by my grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Once upon a time, there wasn't a second time. The end.
Thank you for that story. May Grandpa's soul rest in peace.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. My bad. My bad. I was thinking.
He's not dead.
My bad.
What did you do to him? Oh, man.
My
Anyway,
bad.
so you had a story.
No, I have a story, but it's more of like a quote from somewhere else that's just a story. But before I end it with the story, I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to this episode, when it comes to this season, this whole podcast. Last final thoughts.
After you telling his grandpa rest in peace, even though he's alive, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
That was an honest mistake.
he brought it out like he knew it like already.
It's funny that out of all like all my grandparents already have passed away. So it's funny out of all the grandparents, you're telling rest in peace for the only one grandparent who is still alive.
That's actually impressive. Can I say it like that?
My guy was living.
Accidental, but still impressive.
So
the question was
final thoughts about this season, about the podcast. What's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Jump off the bridge if you do not subscribe or like. What? No.
all right.
No, don't jump off the bridge. Jump off the cliff. For example.
What the hell?
But the cliff.
We are not endorsing suicide here.
No, it's not endorsing. The cliff can be this high, and it's actually.
And I never mentioned how high the bridge is.
There you go.
If you're talking about jump off the cliff, people are gonna assume by default that it's not gonna be like some brick you're gonna jump
And
off
who's that fault then? They are assuming, so it's their fault. It's not my
It's
fault.
your fault.
Actually,
You're telling that
there would be a little difficulty because cliff requires certain height.
so let's assume there's a person who has a depression and she's really or he is really sensitive, and you're just it's your fault that you're assuming that.
Jump off the cliff.
Man, we're really being responsible with this podcast right now.
Of course.
The anyways, anyway,
Don't kill yourself.
please don't kill yourself. But
Endorsing suicide.
man, what the hell. So the question was
Final thoughts about this season, about this podcast.
definitely a bit different kind of theme for this season compared to earlier ones, where we were pretty much, even though there was a theme, it was more like we kind of planned like by each season. Okay, we're going to talk about this. So it was kind of more spontaneous. But this time we had a bit more thoroughly thought theme. But there were still kind of spontaneous moments where we still had to think about, okay, what we're going to talk about. But it was more simple because we had that kind of bigger framework. So it was definitely more challenging, and but still it was interesting. And I definitely enjoyed it. There were really great conversations. We were able to take it into more directions than I expected. I was kind of expecting it to be more like, we're talking about LGBTQ because it's just such a huge thing. But being able to take it into like direction of inequality around money, body positivity, and all that kind of stuff, that was refreshing kind of surprise. And yeah, I definitely it was challenging, but I definitely did enjoy it. One thing what I mentioned about hoping it to be more practical, that's one thing definitely I would have wished a bit more from the season, but other than that, yeah, it was really great.
Your final thoughts, my brother.
I don't have thoughts, to be honest.
You don't have
Okay. You don't have thoughts about it.
Well,
that's your 2 cents.
Huh?
That's your 2 cents.
Pretty much, I don't have thoughts. It was a great season, Could be better as well. Always, we can always improve. But that's, part of the journey. We gotta, take the rough route before we learn about, smoothing the sails. So, right now, we had like a lot of interesting topics. Let's be like that. Of course, we had, like Peter said, we had certain topics were a little bit difficult. Required certain individuals to look up, knowledge from here and there. But other than that, we managed well. We managed well, in my opinion, and.
Despite the circumstances as well.
Yeah, despite those circumstances, as you can see, our scenery changed from like previous season and y'all previous season, because I wasn't the main host yet. But still, we managed well. And
do you recognize that we downgraded when he came?
Yeah, I'm quitting.
Yeah,
I'm quitting.
It's gonna improve instantly.
Wow. So y'all finna tell me the first or second episode wasn't prime? Like
It was prime, I'm not saying that. But after you came, like regular,
Everything changed.
damn, bro. You see the struggle, and you see what I gotta live up to.
hey,
But
We've just been equal with you.
you walked into it. So.
You're just getting the equal treatment as we would do.
wow, you see what you see, and you see. That's what we gotta live up to or live up with. But it is what it is. Game is game, and hey, that's part of the journey. But yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's what I hope next on in later on episodes, if we make later on episode, is for us to come to the episode with slightly more knowledge about the subject, and of course entertainment is part of the thing. We always have to have little jokes here and there, but actually search up into the subject more, because we have done a lot of free fall, let's say like that. But yeah, other than that, we've managed well. Even though we're bashing here and there about how we have succeed in this season, but based on circumstance, we have done well. And what else we can say is, yeah, I would wish actually for us to bring out way more guests, because that could also push up a lot of our. Oh, that was that. But
no, you know what that means.
that means hey, the truth. That's a mark of the truth. So we could bring a lot more more guests into the episode, because the wider of opinions we have, the better. Because it doesn't bring out too much strain on us to like try to figure out from our past, from our here and there. We could get information from somebody who have a totally different lifestyle or like upbringing than us. Because right now we can like to a big degree have a vivid vision of how you were brought up and how I was brought up, how you were brought up. But then we bring out X person, and that brings out a whole new dimension onto this. So that's something I would like. Give huh?
That's why we're opening out.
Duh. But yeah, that was something I would like hint out, like because I got people who are interested to come bring out their thoughts. Some of them might have a little radical thoughts, but that's something. It brings out a little essence and spice to the subject. Yeah, that's that. And yeah, that's something we gotta also bring out sometimes. Somebody who have really some differing opinion than to us as well, because we can't just bring people who have pretty similar opinions to us. We have to have somebody who have contradicting or opposite as well, because yeah.
As long as you don't like
No.
From the place of like I change it. I just want to change it. Therefore, I have to say things.
No.
Then we go fresh and fit style.
Jesus Christ! You see exactly this.
I think it's fairly point to make. Like there's also certain kind of tension we want to have, and certain kind of tension we don't.
Of course.
So that's what I kind of mean. Like it's great that you have friends who have different opinions. Of course, that's really great. But also there's a time and place when we want to actually, highlight certain kind of opinions. Then, man, that sounds like exactly a censorship, like something like that. But my point is like, see, that kind of attention that serves our podcast is a bit more what we're saying for, obviously.
Yeah. You basically said what he said.
Yeah.
Basically, we circle horror. You motherfucker just said amen on top of that. Oh, you fucking up. But it literally.
Taking it back to first.
A whole circle, we have to preach. Hey, that's preaching right there. But yeah, pretty much. So we are not like, I'm not indulging on bringing somebody who would like bring a whole chaos into the subject, but literally like, respectful and have enough of a thought of saying, I don't really agree with y'all at all. So, hey, but that brings out the back and forth conversation, which could answer like viewers like certain questions which they agree with, and something that is which they agree with us as well. So that's something I would like recommend as well. So not be shy on bringing controversial people.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't really have much else. Have you actually answered your own question?
Well, I don't have anything else. Like you two guys summarized
The whole.
The story to tell.
But yeah, I have a story, but it's like an ending.
Is it better than my story?
Oh, Jesus. And on top of that, I would actually. We have to, if we go keep continuing, we have to invest on at least having each microphones, the portable ones, or at least So get the Rhodes one or something like that, so we can have like each own mic rather than moving it around left to right, which can be disturbing to somebody who watches the video because we gotta constantly hop over the other one.
Yeah,
but yeah,
if there actually are some high-techy guys who are watching our videos actually, and you are like, you should actually get this kind of stuff. Yeah, feel free to comment down in the comment section down below, and give us any suggestions what kind of gear we should actually consider having. Yeah. If you have any suggestions, we are definitely open to hear them, because I'm not that kind of IT kind of guy who really knows anything about it.
Double X. Oh, you mean the first version or the second version? What the hell?
Yeah, so I had no idea what you're talking about, so pretty much.
So should I be worried already?
No, it's actually it's a good story. And the story goes, I heard this maybe 1 week ago.
Didn't you hear the other story also a week ago?
Half a week ago? No. No, it was let's just say like this. It was a story, it's not a story, but more of a saying than anything else. That God has a tendency to take somebody who is a nobody and make them great in front of everybody without asking nobody. My senses. Keep in mind. I don't have anything else to say, to be honest.
The way Peter paused,
we are having this running banter about some random stuff, and then there's this very profound kind of symbol. I'm like, how did we end up here?
For a moment we thought about, and then we didn't think about it. And yeah, by the way, how you guys doing? What the fuck?
So it kind of came out of blue. I was kind of like surprised. Like, oh,
am I supposed to say something over here right now?
No.
Like I was Dave.
Yeah, well, basically that was the amen to that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add up. You guys, I would say, summarized very well what I think about the episodes and the seasons and the podcast in itself, and I would say original heart, the core of this podcast hasn't vanished anywhere. Yeah. Even though the seasons and the place that we are doing and the equipment that we have, and the look that I have
changed a bit, but still the same stance. The only thing you cannot say that until we do our best to live by that principle.
Yes, sir. So, thank you for watching this season. Thank you for watching this episode. You know where are the comment, like, and subscribe buttons. And I hope we see you in the next season.
Nah, you talk, bro. You talk, man. Joke's on you.
Peace.